This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel starts now.
We are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart, the island nation of Japan. It's time for Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of round number 10 of the Lionheart Retro Series Season 4 Championship presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. The first half of the season seeing 3 different names top the point standings. Enter Sandman, George Sandman that is, who held the top spot for the first 2 rounds. Real-world IndyCar driver Sage Karam stood the highest rung for the next 3 rounds until the defending series champion Ryan Otis took over after round 6, where he's been ever since. All 3 have wins to their credit. The only other driver to taste victory of champagne this year has been Little Train, Lionel Callisto. But Karam has the lion's share of wins with 5s. To kick off the second half of the season, schedule makers have chosen a track whose void has been run by many a poor boy. There is a place, the track of the rising sun. Motegi plays host to the SimXperience 175 and all the simulated retro Lotus 79 action from Green Flag to Victory Donuts streams away right here live on the iRacing Esports Network. Konnichiwa! Welcome to another GSRC broadcast in the SimXperience Countdown to the Green. Over the next 15 minutes or so, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats, all the facts you need to appreciate the SimXperience 175. Here to bring you the world's eye view alongside of the banker Brian Yatsik. I'm Jason Galvin. Sean Ambrose has director duties. Dougie Beard with the great camera angles tonight. And we're going to throw an extra wrinkle into things and allow DJ Clark to join us on pit road once again. Twin Ring Motegi has latched on to it's the most famous oval track in the world outside of the United States. It is a beautiful, picturesque racing facility. Truly a unique track rife with passing opportunities. Let's take a look around here. The GSRC Track Guide.
Welcome to the Oval at the Twin Ring Motegi. Let's get a common misconception out of the way. While damaged in the earthquake of 2011, it has been repaired and would need very little done to see major racing action today. Got it? Great. But one thing is true, it doesn't get used that much nowadays, so it's great to have it here in the virtual world. In American terms, you could probably best compare this track to Gateway or Darlington in that it's egg-shaped. While both sides of the track are banked at 10 degrees, the difference is in the radius. Turns 1 and 2 are open, wide, and sweeping. Most high downforce cars will be able to take this flat out. The backstretch is also nice and wide, bringing with it plenty of side-by-side action. Turns 3 and 4, things narrow up a bit. In addition, the turn is much tighter, so you're giving the brakes a bit more of a workout here. And that opens up to a decently wide front stretch that the only challenge will be that wall on the exit of 4. Having been around since 1997, we've actually seen some history around this 1.549 mile, 2.5 kilometer track. The late Down Weldon got Honda's first win here, and Danica Patrick became the first woman to win an IndyCar race here. The NASCAR Cup Series made the then annual Japanese Expedition race here in 1998. That was the first race Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. raced together on, and a NASCAR West Series points race was actually ran here in 1999. Who can take the checkered flag today at Japan's premier oval? Let's find out on GSRC.
And we welcome back in my broadcast partner, the banker, Brian Yatzik. Twin Ring Motegi presents a lot of challenges for these retro cars. He has even more so than the Indy cars we traditionally see here, because this old Lotus F1 style car is a draft hog. It's like that Washington football team. It means we're likely in for some side-by-side racing all night.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Jason. Hello. Welcome once again, everybody, to a wonderful broadcast here. Motegi is a fun little oval. For you NASCAR fans out there, from the top down, it really looks like a Darlington with a very wide sweeping turns 1 and 2 to the right of your screen there. And then as you look down towards the left, narrows down a little bit. Now, you see only 10 degrees of banking on that 1.549 miles or 2.493 kilometer facility. In the booth, we do have a little bit of, a way around here, Jason, because you are the two-time winner in this at this track in the other series that we've mentioned about. So we're going to have a fun little broadcast, fun little perspective. For point of reference, the wind right now blowing just off of turn 2, kind of pointed at the start-finish line. So keep in mind with that as the cars sweep out there to the exit of turn 2. And also remember, kids, the countdown to green is brought to you by the SimXperience AccuForce steering system. With the most advanced tuning features on the market, the AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. To check out the entire SimXperience line of products, head on over to SimXperience.com.
Take a look at our point standings here, presented by our good friends at the DMLZ Racing Channel. And as we mentioned off the top of the show, it's Ryan Otis leading the way by 73 big ones now over Sage Karam. Little Train up to P3, gained 2 spots in that last race when George Sandman missed at Sonoma, as did Sage Karam for that matter. Aaron Morgan up to 4th, Dustin Wardlow in the tie, but Morgan has the tiebreaker right now. And we'll take a look now at the Lionheart Retro Series team standings. These are presented by HyperX. And Raven Motorsports Black is the points leader now by 200 big ones after Sage Karam missed that last round. The Otis Wardlow Paulson runaway freight train right now. Never looking back as Inzaldo, Jägerländer, and Karam have some company thanks to Sage Karam missing the last round of this series. So we'll have to keep an eye on that story here throughout the evening. Sage is here tonight, and that, of course, is a big deal, as Brian Yasek tell you all about the Butt Kicker Rookie of the Year standings.
Let's absolutely talk about the Butt Kicker Rookie of the Year standings. You see classy Jason Bossy up on top by 20 markers over the number 19 machine of Chris Reagan. But then you look just back there from 3rd, 4th, 5th, and you kind of see where things tighten up. We mentioned it last outing at Sonoma. Guys like Malone, Ryan, Hearn, Hart, they all tend to run around each other on the track. You've been able to see that all year round. So you could see how even just those couple little positions changing here and there can really make a big difference as we start coming around the bend here on the second half of this magnificent retro season.
Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX. It's the premier open-wheel racing league on iRacing. It oversees 2 great series. The Lionheart IndyCar Series is presented by First Medical Equipment. Tonight's featured series is the Retro Series, of course, presented by the DMLZ Racing Channel. Both of these series race in honor and in memory of the late and great Dan Weldon. Qualifying is on track right now for the Retro Series. And all the drivers are getting a lengthy, and I mean lengthy, lecture from race control and David Cordy right now. Brian, because, these races aren't exciting enough on ovals in these cars, to add a little bit of fuel to the fire here tonight, I understand there has been a little bit of chippiness in the 2 practice races and even in practice tonight, which, George Inzaldo would probably tell me that it's not a good thing to mention, and I'm here to tell you guys right now, heck yeah, we're going to talk about that, because who doesn't love a little bit of extra drama on the racetrack?
Well, you get them side by side, and put a little chip on their shoulder and just kind of let it see what happens. You know, at Motegi here, we've seen this year after year after year. The way that you were kind of mentioning at the front end of the broadcast, how this car is just a draft hog. So you get these big packs. So you get these Lotus 79 packs running around here, 3 wide down the 3, 4, 5 wide down the front stretch. They can narrow down and probably maintain at least 4 wide in the corners. But then everybody's got to funnel down to turn 3, and that's where, Jason, we see it every single year. And there you see Hart in the wall right off of turn 4. That's going to mess him up just a little bit. But there you see George.
You think that would be a problem qualifying if you hit the wall?
Well, you know, generally hitting the wall is not the fastest way around the track, Jason.
God. This is why we pay Brian Yazik the big bucks to be the analyst on Thursday nights here in the Retro Series. I do believe $5 Starbucks gift card for the year will be coming your way via Joe Peak at some point.
Sweet. After taxes, I can't wait to get a maybe a.
Do you have a Starbucks in Kentucky?
You know, they do, but unfortunately they keep opening and then closing, and we're kind of worried about them because you'll see the sign on the window that says temporarily closed. But then, yeah. So we got that going, so that's nice. But yeah, but you know, speaking,
we got at least 150 in Bakersfield, so I'm good.
Well, there you go. You're good to go.
We are. All right. Hey, somebody else just crashed, too. Let's let
that was, been watching that, too. There's a lot of chaos. Now, and remember, I mentioned the wind. Earlier. It's kind of shifting a little bit, and according to the gauge that I have, it's blowing directly at the exit of turn 4. So when we get these big packs kind of wadded up and getting ready, that's going to be kind of the area that we're going to focus on immediately. But really quick, we've got just a little bit of time here at the end of qualifying. Let's talk about our series details. And these series details come to us thanks to Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. They're industry-leading gloves, super lightweight, super durable, made of breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit www.minus273.biz. And also, don't forget, we have a promo code, LHRS, 25%. Yes, boys and girls, 25% off of your order. There you see, Season 4, Round 10 of 18, 2 drops of the worst finishes with the Lotus 79. Adjusted fixed setup thanks to the setup mastermind, master guru, Andrew Kinsella. Cash and prizes at the year end, $6,671.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for this one as qualifying is complete for the SimXperience 175 at Twin Ring Motegi. And on the pole is the man who dominated the early portion of a similar track to this, Homestead, Miami, David Clymer. And that, for Mr. Clymer, is pole number 2 in his Lionheart career. A 31.913 edges out Ryan Otis. Classy Jason Bossy and Aaron Morgan on row 2. Hey, the series sponsor Mark Cohn making an appearance in the race car tonight will start 5th next to Bruno Miranda. Ricky Harden and Matt Taylor, the rookie, in just his second start there in row 4. Scott Holmes and Dean Mardi Gras Mall. That's your top 10.
In the 11th spot, we have Tyler Groff making a one-off appearance here at the Motegi racetrack tonight. To his outside, Chris Fowler. In row 7, you have the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, with series founder George Anzaldo to his outside. There you got Chris Reagan in 15th with Tom Dreiling 16th, 17th, Paul Jenkins with Ryan Corns in 18th, Tyson Landis 19th, and the one, the only, Sage Karam 20th.
Keep an eye on that one. It'll be fun. Row 11, Mike Rasmus with Little Train, Lionel Callisto. Remember, this will be Rasmus' first non-Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval start in this car. Finian DeCunha and Mike Rigney in row 12. Adam Young and Richie Hearn in row 13. And Travis Englander, Sam Crow will round out this 28 car field here at Twin Ring Motegi. Let's take you through the onboards here. And the first one is our HyperX onboard, second in points, the series leader in wins, and he's coming from 20th. So you better believe Sean Ambrose has this camera on speed dial. It is Sage Karam. Whatever you play, however you play it, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Promo codes LionHRT15 at HyperXGaming.com.
Let's move up the grid just a little bit to Mark Cone in the DMLC Racing Channel. DMLC, your home for best sim racing videos online. Looking over the left helmet down. It's going to be a good shot here as we progress through the evening tonight.
Ricky Harden with the minus 273 onboard camera. Durable, breathable, lightweight racing gloves. Use the promo code LHRS at minus 273.biz.
And to finish up business, SimXperience on board to George Anzaldo. SimXperience, second only to the real thing, SimXperience.com.
Here we go, Twin Ring Motegi, 175 miles. It is 113 laps for 28 screaming, naturally aspirated Lotus L79 Formula One cars in the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by the DMLC Racing Channel and the Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX. David Clymer's on the loud pedal. The green flag is out at Twin Ring Motegi.
Camera angle there. You will notice the white and red machine of Sage Karam just to the outside. Got a tremendous start. Jumped and cleared at least 6 cars to the right side after that green flag has fallen. So now he went from starting 20th to right behind Tyler Groff.
Off of turn 4 for the first time, and this will be the trouble corner for these cars. Clean and green through lap 1 here around Motegi, and Ryan Otis got credit with leading lap number 1, but David Clymer able to get him back as they head off into turn 1 and now down the back straight.
Here's what we were talking about earlier, side by side, 3 deep going into turn 3. You've got Ryan Otis up on the top side trying to maintain the momentum. David Clymer fighting with everything he's got from the bottom. This is coming down the front stretch here. We can see it look just like that on lap 113, but boys and girls, that was only lap 3.
I think you're going to see that outside line will be the preferred line the longer we run, Brian. Even though these cars, they don't really wear their tires necessarily, but you get them hot, you're going to start to aero push, you're going to get rubber buildup down on the bottom, you're going to get light on fuel, so you really get a killer run on the outside off of turn 4. I think eventually what you'll see is that top side is where you want to be when you're racing to the finish. But that's a long ways away here as we complete lap number 3 of 113 at the Twin Ring Motegi. And Ryan Otis has led all 3 laps by a mere inches so far. Boy, you want to talk about a man on a mission already. Why don't we see if we can get that HyperX onboard camera and check in on the second place car in points, Sage Karam. There he is, the real-life IndyCar Series star, about to pick off Scott Holmes on the outside. Sage Karam will come across the stripe this time, and he is trying to poke his nose into the top 10 already, up 9 spots from 20th to 11th, and you see him now trying to look outside of Bruno Miranda. Sage was ready to go 3 wide if he could. Instead, it's Mardi Gras Mall taking the inside line there, but Sage has wasted no time knifing his way through this field. He has.
No, that was just what I was talking about the front end. He got a great start. As you know, the further back, you and I both know, the further back that you start, that's where things can kind of get chaotic and you can find these gaps to make up ground. I'm dead serious. We went from 20th to the start to 13th on the end of lap 1. So you see the driver really getting an extra grip on that steering wheel tonight, making that car cut through traffic.
Look at him pull down there behind Matt Taylor and suck up on the draft of Scott Holmes, and now Sage is going to poke his way to the middle. Holmes shuts the door on him.
Holmes shuts the door, but for how much longer? Here comes Sage trying to roll that top side, but he's got someone rolling the top side on him. Matt Taylor.
Start in the series.
Yeah, he's got to put this. I got this. Watch this.
Still 3 wide down into 1. Watch Karam try to squeeze Scott Holmes here. That's a veteran move as long as you trust the car under you. and if you can squeeze him down enough, Sage might clear Holmes down the back straightaway.
Matt Taylor learning a valuable lesson right there. The top lane and clear track wasn't the best way. Went into that corner, lost all sorts of momentum, lost a couple spots, and there you see Sage fighting back on the outside as well, moving him up another spot.
Up into the 8th spot. He's gained 12 positions. You know who else has been a heavy mover so far? Jump ahead 3 spots to the number 20 car, and Chris Fowler. He's bouncing back and forth between Mark Cohn as you ride on board with Fowler. Cohn and Fowler keep swapping 5th and 6th place. Fowler started 12th, and just like Sage, wasted little time getting up front, and they're 3 wide for 3rd in front of Fowler down into turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like, lap eight rush hour traffic here in the land of the rising sun. Here comes Sage from a top to bottom move. Top to bottom, trying to get that run. Here goes Mark also in front. He's got to make that pass. He's working on Aaron Morgan in front of him.
Well, that was a sharp move by Mark Cohn, the Watchman, the sponsor of this series, to get down in front of Sage. First, it kind of shunted Karam's momentum, and it also gave him a big run now behind Aaron Morgan, who's looking to the outside of classy Jason Fossey. I don't think Morgan's going to get there. Meanwhile, David Clymer has cleared Ryan Otis out in front of this one and has even opened up about a 0.2 of a second gap. So Clymer to the lead, Otis behind him, and then they're 2 by 2 for about as far as the eye can see here in Motegi.
The cars go marching in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah, and they come marching off 2 by 2 as well. That's that really wide 1 and 2 that we were talking about in the front end of the broadcast as well. You can see just it creates these wonderful runs that these guys are getting going down here into turn 3.
Here already, lap 10, and Sage Karam is up to a podium position. Oh, somebody just caught the wall. I don't know if they caught it. It was real close. That was right behind. It might have been Fowler. It was right behind Bossy. If he didn't catch the wall, man, he could have stuck his hand out and signed an autograph on it.
Tell you what, though, Sage getting to the front of this field faster than your local pizza joint getting the pizza to you. Now you get there. Now you kind of try to figure out what to do. Now they're side by side. So how many lanes is he? I mean, Jason, you're better at this track than I am. How many lanes can you kind of run around there?
Yeah, I mean, you got about 1.5 that you can get away with in 3 and 4. That's the trick around here. Sage really worked it masterfully. If you remember the IndyCar race, we had that restart near the end, and a couple of us were on old tires, and Sage and Adam Blocker and Andrew Kinsella had newer tires, and it really made for an interesting last 2 or 3 laps because everybody was taking different lines through turns 3 and 4. This car, you're a little more limited because it doesn't have the throttle response of the IndyCar. Here, you make sure that you've got momentum as Otis and Clymer and Sage, and it's Sage Karam is going to come out in front and lead his first lap here on lap number 12, coming to 13. And Otis is going to slice right back under him coming down the front straightaway. So yeah, Brad, I'm saying this car, as you know, is a momentum car. And so that kind of limits your options through turns 3 and 4 as to where in the IndyCar, where we were using the brake pedal, as you recall, getting into turn 3 and downshifting from 6th all the way to 3rd on older tires really changed everything about how you ran this corner at the end of the race.
I'll tell you what, though, that was a whole lot of fun having to make that car steer at the end of it.
This car is a whole lot of fun around here, too. It's just a different style of racing. It's, we mentioned it's very pack-esque. It's, like running a restrictor plate race.
Oh, problems out front.
David Clymer
put it out
in the wall.
Oh.
That was huge net code, and that's been an issue at this track before. And, man, David Clymer, if it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have none at all at ovals. Remember at Homestead when he sat on the pole, Brian, dominated the first half of the race? Ricky Harden was off the pace, damaged a lap down, and Clymer ran into him, and here it is again as we look in the end off into turn 1, and oh, man, you could drive a 747 between Clymer and Ryan Otis, and the net code strikes. Oh, we got a couple more that spun at the back of that there. Check on who that was. I thought it was maybe Adam Young or Little Train. It was Adam Young. Let's go take a look at Adam Young. There was somebody else who spun as well. No, it's not Adam. It's one of his teammates. There they both go sliding high.
Who was that laying up there? It could have been Lionel Rickney, maybe?
Lionel is at the back of the pack. It's definitely Little Train is one of them.
Oh! Oh, and here comes
a Little Train. Oh, it is
the uncomfortable angle.
Oh, and Mike Rigney Richie Hearn jumped on the brakes in front of Rigney. Oh, it's Mike Rasmus. I apologize. Rasmus jumped on the brakes in front of Rigney, who just turned right into Little Train. And, the thing about these cars, Brian, is they're usually not very damage friendly. So now you've got to check and make sure, how much do you have? And if you're Mike Rigney, the answer is a lot of front wing damage to that car. That is not going to be a salvageable race for Mike Rigney at this point. It's just going to be hanging on. Little Train's got a little bit of front wing damage. That might be a little bit better in the draft. And it's hard to tell about the back of the car. It looks like it's okay. As we do have some takers to pit road here. Richie Hearn is in. Finian D'Acunha is in.
Mike Rasmus, the magician, Richie Hearn, Adam Young, everybody kind of caught up in the back end of that collision.
Marty Gras in. Tyson Landis pit. David Clymer's race has come to an end officially. He's still technically entered, but that car is toasty. Let's take a look at our in-race analysis, yes.
Take a look at it. Brought to us by Butt Kicker. 113 laps on the docket tonight with a max fuel stint of about 48 laps or so. They tell us behind, whispers behind the haulers. Them silly engineers. 20 incidents gets you a DQ and minus 10 points in the overall tally. If you get out of here, if you could finish this race with 20 incident points, I would be shocked. Now let's take a second here. Bring in DJ Clark, our pit reporter, yet again. DJ, you kind of have a couple smorgasbord of options from a strategy standpoint. If you're in the driver's seat, are you going to try and run this stint long? Or are you going to try and run the next stint long?
Well, with where the caution came out here, the way it's looking at it is you're going to have to make a little bit of a shorter stint on the last leg. So if you look at the guys that came in, it's basically everybody from 10th back. A lot of the guys from 10th back coming in. So I think it's a good option for them. Try to get out on a little bit of an alternate strategy, make it work. If I'm Otis, if I'm Cone, if I'm Karam, Harden, I'm going to run the normal, what I would think of as potentially a two-stop strategy. I think you can get around on that. But we're going to have to see if these guys in the back, Dean Mull, Finian D'Acunha, all of them, if they can make it work on what I think is now going to be a three-stopper for them.
Well, and what we could see, too, is, DJ, at a place like this, we know how hard it is to pass in this series. Do you almost take the road racing approach of being the first car to be the last one to pit sort of scenario, or would you try to kind of go the other end?
No, with these cars and not really having to worry about a whole lot of tire wear, as you guys mentioned, the later you can go, the better, because the later you can go, the less fuel you have to put in the car. That means you're on pit lane less, and I think that gives you more of an opportunity to pass somebody in the pits.
Easiest place to pass them. I mean, it's either pass them on pit road or three wide going into three. I mean, I know which one's easier for me and my heart rate.
Most certainly, and you don't have to worry about netcode when you're coming in out of the pits necessarily.
I suppose there is that. Now, DJ, from your pit box down there, any early favorite excluding Sage Karam that you're seeing out there?
I'm really kind of liking the way Mark Cohn's driving, to be honest. Cohn's just sort of keeping his nose out of trouble, not making a lot of major overhead moves. Mark's obviously a massive veteran of Lionheart, and I like the sort of sage, pun intended, safe approach he's taken. So he's one to watch.
Cohn with 2 wins in his career, 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s, was a championship contender last season when he was the Retro Series driver of the year. DJ Clark, our pit reporter, thanks for your analysis there. We'll check in with you in a little bit, and great to have you back on board for another Retro Series broadcast here. Got a little more to talk about this week, DJ, than we had at Sonoma, so this is good.
Most certainly, the pit strategy on ovals is always more fascinating than on road courses.
Working lap 18 now. Remember, the pit window, as we talked about off the top of this one, is said to be between 17 and 48 laps, as I just said, so we'll keep an eye on that, see if somebody knocked off a pit stop or not. My guess is, yes, we're probably not done with caution flags here tonight.
Oh, that's probably a safe bet.
Ryan Otis is your leader. Pace car is going to peel off. Here we come back to the green flag. Otis, the defending series champion, powers down and slams through the gears. That's right, 5-speed H pattern in these race cars. And it's Otis, Karam, and Cone, the Watchman. 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack, and we are single file for the most part through the field here on the restart, although it did not last long. Sage Karam says, I kind of like being out in front. Excuse me, sir.
Mark Cone going to try to take advantage of the door that Otis opened. Can't quite get the momentum build up, but Mark's going to slide back up the track there, line back up with that rear wing, try and catch a draft and make another run at it. Probably coming off a 2 here.
Talked to Mark Cone a lot this week, Brian. You and I did as we run through on the IndyCar side of things. He was super excited about this race, and he wanted to get up in front and lead a lap early. Here's his
there he goes
wide, and Ryan Otis thought better and ducked back in. Cone to the outside of Karam in 3 and 4, and if he can keep his nose there, he might just lead the lap. I don't know if he'll be able to do it. So far, no, big cut off. Big move by Cone. Sage will lead the lap. Cone to the inside down the front straight.
Great battling here early on in this race. You see just why Motegi is a fan and driver favorite here in the Lionheart Series. Mark Cone trying to hold the defensive line, going to try to take that low entry. I would have maybe given up the bottom, seeing how good does that just about work for me the last time. But here comes Mark sending it from the bottom. Little slide job.
Cone gets his switch, needs a lap.
There it is.
Lap 21. Notice everybody has kind of calmed down from the first stint.
That's usually how that rolls. They wad them up early, and everybody goes, oh, yeah.
Because we didn't have the big one, per se. We had a really crazy netcode incident, and then a couple of cars at the back who got together slowing down for it. But I think it seems to have gotten everybody's attention, although as I say that, here comes, is that Ricky Harden? Ricky Harden up to P3. Where did he come from? Hasn't even hit the wall yet.
We still got plenty of time.
Inside joke, Ricky Harden streaming channels called Harden the Wall. As you're on board now with Ricky Harden as he rolls around in the 3rd position, the -273 on board. Look at him slide right into that gold machine of Mark Cone. It's a beautiful paint scheme Mark's got. Folks over at Graphics. It's Otis popping to the outside. Penske throwback. Oh, they stacked up behind them off the corner there. Matt Taylor and Chris Fowler both started to push up a little bit. And all of a sudden, we got a big pack forming again. All the way back to George and Zaldo in 11th.
I mean, speaking of George, let's kind of highlight George here. I mean, George being in our driver's profile here, 58 races in the Retro Series, 0 wins, 2 poles, 2 top 5, 10 top 10s. First start being Homestead Season 1, best finish, 3rd at Homestead Season 3. But this season, George has had a lot better qualifying pace in years past. It wouldn't surprise me, maybe knock that goose egg out of the win column there. It's racing, man.
Can we talk about who picks the driver profiles here? Huh? Did George know something we don't? He was like, man, this is a good night for me to be the driver profile.
We're going to throw it back to him. So classy, elegant.
Sage Karam has slotted into the lead ahead of Mark Cone and Ryan Otis now, and those three, I don't want to say they're opening up a gap, but they have pulled about 3/10 on Aaron Morgan. And Morgan has Ricky Harden behind him, and then they start to fan out 2 wide, and maybe thinking about 3 back there was Chris Fowler and Scotty Holmes as well.
We have a couple distinct packs that are forming up here. We have this lead pack that's pretty much bookended by the Candyman pack there. Just a bit adrift of them is the second pack of cars led by Finian, Korn, Dean Mall, Adam Young. A lot of these drivers are the ones that hit it on that early stop. And then we've got a couple, well, unfortunately, drivers like Mike Rigney and Travis Yeager, they're probably just hanging on to the back end of
Remember, Rigney's got a ton of front wing.
Yeah,
and we got cloud cover has just rolled in as well. We bring the rain tires, yes.
We did.
Partly cloudy, 4-degree air temp. Track's down to 91 here. Whoa, somebody almost just clipped the wall. Big move off the corner there I was checking in on Little Train as he was part of that contact out there with Mike Rigney. Lionel Kalisto's hanging out in 22nd, but he's in the middle of a pack, and it actually looks like they're okay. We got for the lead right now, and it's Cone and Karam back and forth again. And who's that sneaking in on the outside up there? Is that Matt Taylor who just sailed?
Oh! Put it out. It's in turn 3. Turn 4. Oh,
all sorts of cars wrecked here. Scott Holmes was in it too. That's where it's headed.
Oh
Scott
no.
Holmes, Jason Bossy. On board with Jason Bossy, and this is not going to be fun.
What? Oh.
Scott Holmes
Okay.
kept coming down. He came and he came and he came, and then Bossy was there. And boy, I tell you what, is that Chris Reagan who goes around? Chris Reagan goes around. Bruno Miranda, I don't know if he got away with a bunch of net code. No, he's got some serious damage, it looks like, on that car as well. So poor Bruno.
I was just going to say, I thought Bruno maybe net-coded through that one and snuck through.
I think that one, sadly, is on Scott Holmes, as Jason Bossy was pretty firmly down at the bottom, and Scott Holmes just kind of kept coming. I don't know if he thought Bossy wouldn't get there or what, but a tough incident.
Disagreement for the spot. The driver's heading to pit road?
Everybody coming in. Well, this knocks one of the pit stops out. And
It does.
a couple cars staying out. Those are all cars that have already pit.
If you're trying to two-stop it, or maybe you're trying to split that. This is why I'm the driver. They don't let me figure out strategy. Sage is rolling there.
Fuel only. Most of these cars waiting for Mark Cone. He's down and away. Sage is going to win that battle off. Ryan Otis is not going to get Cone either. So it'll be Karam, Cone, and Otis as they come off pit road, but they're going to slot all the way in. 8th place on back. Top 7 stay out. It's Hearn, Young, Korn, Small, Graf, Landis, Jaeger-Leonard, who all stay out on the track.
Now you kind of see the flip-flop of the other strategy there. Now the drivers that pitted the first time. Now they've got a little bit of track position, and they have lighter fuel. So we know that those cars a little happier on lighter fuel, so that could be fun to watch, see if Sage and Mark and the Candyman and Harden, who's also up there, see if they could slide back up through the pack.
Chris Reagan has officially retired from this race. He has Bruno Miranda still on pit road trying to get that race car fixed. He's going to get down and away now before he loses a lap. Scott Holmes has a ton of damage on that race car as well. And I went and checked in on Jason Bossy. Now, Jason's car actually, for the most part, looks pretty good. It's got a tweak in the rear wing, but it's still pretty straight. So it'll be interesting to see if Bossy, like Little Train, can maybe hang on in the draft at least and make some moves happen.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, Bossy could have had things go a lot worse for him there. Just, you're right, that little tweak on the right, and probably the right rear part of the wing, could be messing it up, but you can hang around in the draft and make life easy. That's the best way to do it. But now we've cycled back around, so behind the pace car now, Richie Hearn. He's got Adam Young right behind him. Ryan Corns staying out as well. Dean Marty Grumall, Tyler Graf, Tyson Landis, Travis Jaeger-Leonard. Top 7 staying out. DJ, tell me what you're thinking here, bud.
Well, it's going to be just on the early side, I think, for these guys who came in to make a 2-stopper work. So it looks like everybody's probably going to be committed to a 3-stop race at this point. That said, you can gain back about 3/4 of a lap of fuel running under yellow. So if we continue to have these, we may be able to make that 2-stopper work. That said, these guys that are running up front, Richie Hearn, Dean Moll, Tyler Graf, all of them, it's going to be, I think, playing right into their hands. Taking that early stop looks like it's going to play out for now. They're going to be on lighter fuel. and they're going to be able to go faster. And I think that 2-pack system you were looking at is going to be coming out once again, as Sage, Mark, and Ryan Otis may have to fall back a little bit just because they're not going to have as much speed.
Sounds good. You mentioned Tyler Graff there. Let's take a look at this Tyler Graff. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Running a one-off paint scheme, the old James Hunt special. Look at that paint scheme right there. You gotta appreciate the old ones. You know, if you watch the movie Rush, if you know any bit of F1 history from the 70s, that scheme you can recognize, pick out. Tyler had a lot of fun putting that one together to get on for the broadcast, running a very, very, very part-time. Basically running only the ovals that he wants to run here in the Retro Series. Dean Mardi Gras Mall right there in front of him. Probably 2 to go right here. Jason, I mean, we've seen him kind of rack them up, stack them up, and wreck. Where do you think we're going to kind of land on this restart now?
Yes, I mean, I think that this is an interesting spot because you now have a bunch of cars at the front of the pack who have not been there all race, right? And, you know, it's one thing to be at the front of the pack, but it's another thing to be racing around cars who you've not raced with, especially at a track like this. We've seen this style of racing, and we just saw a pretty big mistake from Scott Holmes there with Jason Bossy. And those were 2 cars who raced side by side for several laps. And so now you're going to get drivers who have not been close to each other. That could certainly make things different. And it'll probably remind you of what it was like to race early on in the race.
See a little bit of connection issues too. Richie Herr car's discoing around there. That could be, but that's not what you want to see in second spot.
Yeah, Richie's fought issues like that most of the year, so he's trying to get that figured out. In fact, David Cordy just jumped on and I missed it, but I think it might have been, actually he said 67, that's Scott Holmes. I think he was given the penalty to Scott Holmes. So Scott Holmes may actually have to serve a drive-through here on the restart as well, which would really be like a double punch to the gut. Here we go. Pace car peels off. Richie Hearn, the GSRC broadcaster and IndyCar winner, all the way back in season 2 of the what was then known as Indy Racing League, is gonna stream off into turn 1 with the lead over Adam Young and Ryan Corns. Mardi Gras and Tyler Graff in the top 5, and Sage Karam's already poking around left and right. He got by Tyson Landis. He's looking next to Tyler Graff. Sage Karam on a mission.
Sage turning on the beast mode setting on the controller tonight. Goodness gracious. Tyler Graff, though, fighting back to the inside. That very popular crossover move from the top to the bottom. Oh, Scott Holmes removed from server. That's
interesting.
There's a development that we must have missed there. Look at that battle, though.
Was issued a penalty. Yeah, that's besides the point at this point.
Great battle, though, up at the front end of the field. Now Adam Young getting up there to the sharp end of the field. Sharp end of the stick. I keep using the same analogy. I'll figure it out eventually.
Ryan Corns as well now to the lead.
You see him fanning out side by side yet again. Tyler Graff getting back up there. Mark Cohn sniffing the draft, going down into turn 3. So you're going to start watching this front pack start building back together, Lego brick by Lego brick.
Boy, Richie Hearn still blinking up there. And look at Sage around. There is no chill at all in Sage Karam. And that's why he's at the front so much. Man, he is on it at all times. And to the front again with a power move around Mardi Gras.
That was that was sending it there into turn 3. Fantastic battles, fantastic camera angles there. Looking off the HyperX camera, he's got Dean Mardi Gras all fighting back to the inside. Ryan Corn sniffing around in 3rd place as well. Look at Sage coming top to bottom, pinching down on the right side, getting that run off the corner, trying to break the draft, but here comes Mardi Gras fighting back. Down off into turn 1, getting a little bit of arrow wash. Here comes Corns with a run as well, with Adam Young looking just back. Where's Adam going to factor into this? Tyler Graff, Mark Cohn, Ryan Otis, all the players from before sniffing in there. 3 wide going into turn 3. Tyler from the bottom. Can he make it stick?
And there's still 3 wide behind him. Cohn stuck in the middle.
That was clear-ish.
Almost 4 wide.
Mardi Gras taking the fight to Sage, and so's Tyler, getting a good run to the top. Sage going up the track. Dean has the lane to the bottom, but goodness. Sage has got something figured out from that top end and just can absolutely gap whoever he needs to from that top end down.
That's the key. I think it's just so smooth. Tyler to the inside of Mardi Gras. Boy, Dean shut the door on Tyler Graff, and they almost learned what it was like to be rocket ships. They were going to be ready for liftoff. Official word from race control, Brian, is that Scott Holmes was removed as a precaution to protect the field. The race car was too damaged. He was trying to get it out around the track, and it just wasn't going to work out. Not his night after that incident. So Scott did wrong, just had an injured race car, and race control wanted to make sure something didn't happen that took out another car. Scott will be back for the next one.
Well, speaking of getting caught up in that early incident with problems, Bruno Miranda has packed in for a night. Poor Bruno.
Man. One day Bruno's going to get through one of these things without being involved in somebody else's dust up. And it'll be glorious.
Glorious.
Boy, look at Mark Cohn, aggressive move down the front straight.
See, the funniest part about Mark, you talk to him in the week, a very soft-spoken man, then you put him behind a race car, and something changes. Just turns into the nice guy to all of a sudden he's got the grenade between his teeth. He's moving people out of the way.
It's like Forrest Gump.
But there was no Jen, eh?
Sage, Mardi Gras, Ryan Otis, Mark Cohn, 5, Matt Taylor, Tyson Landis, Ricky Harden, George Zotto, Adam Young. That's the top 10.
Give it a moment. It'll shift around again probably the next time. Mardi Gras trying to take that fight back, but I mean, just Sage from the top entering 3, that car just points and then goes. He's not having to fight it. He's not really struggling at all for grip. Great battle. Just listen, I mean, side by side, racing around the facility. Sage defending from the front.
No, it's totally worth just stopping and listening to it as well. We're talking about sounding like a race car. This car sounds like a race car.
Well, you know, if 2020 has taught us anything, it's to appreciate things that bring us just a little bit of joy in the universe.
On board with the Watchman, Mark Cohn, the DMLC Racing Channel. Happy birthday to Mark's mom. Yesterday was her birthday, right?
I think you're gonna put me on the spot. I don't know.
I
think you're right.
Today. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. It was yesterday or today. Either way, happy birthday to Mark's mom. Sponsor of the Retro Series, the defending driver of the year in the Retro Series, and full-time participant over on the IndyCar side of things. The DMLC Racing Channel is where Mark streams all his content on YouTube and Facebook. It is sure entertaining, and Mark does a great job with the production quality as well. For what it's worth, I think one of the better streamers out there when it comes to racing simulation games, just on the way his setup works, and he's got great cameras and good views of everything.
Well, I mean, you put that effort into things. Meanwhile, middle of 3 wide.
Probably cool, calm, and collected right now as well.
Probably. You and I would have been reaching for that radio button.
Cohn makes the middle work. He kind of hung out Tyler Graff, one of our other buddies over there on the IndyCar side. Tyler going backwards right now, like pulled a parachute on a top fuel dragster. Right on board with George Rivaldo. HyperX, Butt Kicker, and DMLC Racing Channel. SimXperience on board.
I think that makes
Chicago Fire Department paramedic.
Makes everything roll around here.
The man, the weapon.
If you look just in front of me, you saw that gold car just kind of deep, using the 5 Ds of dodgeball: dip, dive, duck, dodge, and dodge. And Mark Cohn getting out to the front. He finally got around Mardi Gras, trying to shut the door, not quite.
Well, Sage Karam is literally pulling away. You could put a blanket over the next 22 cars, and Sage is just like, bye.
Yeah, well, you're out front. Everybody wants to race behind you. See ya. This guy's going to have to figure that out. Here comes Mark again. I think he was watching Sage there, trying to get it just right. Finally going to close the door. Our Mardi Gras. So now Mark Cohn trying to set out and retake the lead here at Motegi.
Closing in on the halfway mark of the SimXperience 175 here at Twin Ring Motegi, and Sage Karam has been out front more than anybody over the last 30 laps or so, with the Watchman Mark Cohn just behind him. And then they're 2 by 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 2 ish. I think I got right on that.
And then in the stands tonight is Erica Baidu. Just had to tie all the ranks together just so I can hear Sean's head. And I wish you guys, well, you probably good reason the on-air can't hear the director channel to us, because I think I just heard Sean's head explode.
He's a singer, right?
Yes. I may have butchered the name to make the pun. But listen, hey, if
Mick Yeager called. He wants to know how to say musician's name.
Oh, did he?
Battle for the lead. Mark Cohn ran Sage down.
Got there, kind of like a dog chasing a car. Okay, I'm here. Now what?
That's got to be frustrating for Sage. And not so much that Mark got there, just that everybody behind Mark came with him.
Yeah. It turned from a one-on-one to a street fight really fast.
Like, oh, look, the 39 cars behind me. And then Mark made a move, and Sage looked in the mirror and went, and there's 39 cars behind him.
Do you remember that scene in Anchorman when all the
Matt Taylor squeezing it inside. Whoa. That was Tyler Graff and Mardi Gras, and holy smokes. If this car is 3.5 feet wide, he didn't have 3.5 feet. Yeah, let's take another look at that.
I mean,
Taylor.
you're going to see what we saw. Woo-hoo!
Here's the run down the back straightaway. Now watch this. Tyler Graff
Yeet.
nose out. Look, Matt Taylor is way up there.
It's the high rent district up there.
Tyler Graff pops up, and Matt is just like, nope. About having some faith in Tyler and Mardi Gras.
Higher than
Man.
the hind end of a giraffe up there in turn 3.
That was great stuff. Hey, halfway this past time around, and Mark Cohn back to the lead around Sage Karam. Ryan Otis just showed back up as well. Otis to the outside of Mardi Gras, looking to move into the top 3.
Well, you know, at that time of the race where Ryan Otis just says, hey, guys, I'm still here. And then he's just going to fade, kind of hang back. But he's, every once in a while, he just comes back to the front and goes, hey, hi, guys. You're going to have to fight me at the end of this. I'm just letting you know.
Still the defending champion. Still the points leader. Don't mind me.
Still the one we run to.
You are just the Grammys tonight or something?
I don't know. Must have had the extra special Cheerios this morning.
It's worth noting, by the way, we're going to get a first-time winner here at Motegi. Alex Saunders in Season 2, which was the first year we raced here. And Big Joe Hassert was the winner here last year by 900ths of a second over D. Mall. So this is a good track for Mardi Gras, running up there right now in the top 3 and thinking about making a move for the lead. We thought better of it.
Still great action at the front end of the field between Sage and Mark. Just behind, you got Otis, Tyler Graff, Mardi Gras. The aforementioned Matt Taylor just up there in the high rent district in turn 3. You know, they say you're out there doing something all to yourself and no one else is doing it with you. You're either a genius or you're off your rocker. Matt Taylor showing to be a little bit of a genius right here. He's got that car up there. And, you know, things happen fast here at Motegi. So if you kind of give your spot, if you run towards the middle of the pack, but an area that you kind of maneuver, you got shoulder room in the elevator. That's not a bad spot to be in as we see another battle going into turn 3. Let's to go on board Ryan Otis. Wonderful viewpoint to all of this battle, right off of the front wing. Dougie bringing us all of the fantastic cameras. See, still that battle rages for the lead. Mark Cohn up top in the gold car. Sage Karam down below in the 2 red and white machine. Side by side, this is Lionheart Racing. Boys and girls, oh! Off of turn 4, someone caught the fence, having to deal with a lot of rear end wiggle. I believe, was it Fowler? He just caught it just off of turn 4. Let's take a look at it right here.
I remember Chris Fowler was close a couple times earlier, and boy, that could have been so ugly.
He done got it this time. It was a black car. I think it was Jaegerliner right behind him that had to take very evasive action. No, that wasn't Jaegerliner. That was Jenkins. Now Fowler
bringing it
that to pit road.
That's going to be the end of the night for Chris Fowler.
God, from the white line to the walls to the sweat drips down your palms. This is fantastic racing here at Motegi.
I think you went in the wrong industry.
No, what you're having is this is a Rain Man moment. I will never be this on point again. So everybody at home, take advantage of this.
So we should bookmark and save this broadcast for the future little Yazik that's going to be running around.
Absolutely.
Hey, this is a good time for me to congratulate you, huh? Because it's public now.
It
So
is. It is.
Talk
yes.
about it on the podcast. First time daddy to be, Ryan. Congratulations to you and your beautiful wife, Serena. I know you guys are happy. Oh, somebody else in the wall back there.
Yeah,
Red and white car up top, going backwards.
Is that Harden? I got a little misty-eyed right there. Sorry.
That was Ricky Harden. Ricky Harden in the wall.
Tyler Graf pitting. Remember, he was one of the drivers that took the early pit stop. So now, at the end of that fuel run, that is 49 laps. Might have a couple extra laps in the tank. 49 laps is what we just saw Tyler Graf run. We are coming to 47 to go. So, this is the window right here. So Tyler is going to take the opposite approach here and just kind of run to the beat of his own drum. He's not racing for points. Try and get a win.
But Tyler also had a couple of cautions in there. So it's not 49 clean and green laps. I think this is going to be very close for him, yes. I think he's going to need another yellow.
Well, at the rate they're going.
True. Remember, they pit. They pit as they're battling.
Oh, Sage.
Right still.
Oh.
All those cars pit, and then we got another full caution. So he had not only the pace laps of his own yellow, but then another 4 or 5 under the next caution as well.
Yeah, now I know a resident pit expert, DJ, he times this stuff out. He gets it down. DJ, without a green, do you think Tyler can get there?
Yes, I think he can. Just barely. He's gonna be running on fumes at the end, but it looks like from what I was able to get him coming out of the pits, I think he's got it.
See, the thing Tyler's got to know that he's good, Brian, because why else come in? Because look, there's some other cars that he pit with who have not come in yet, right?
Yeah, well, and where Tyler merged out, let's take a look at that. Oh, nope, he's all by himself. I thought maybe he caught back to the back end of that pack. I mean, he's not close enough to get any kind of a draft back there. And unfortunately, he's faster than Mike the Magician Rasmus right behind him. Mike's car looks clean from what I could tell, so maybe if you were thinking you were close. Is it?
Yeah. But remember, Dean Mall, Richie Hearn, Tyson Landis, Adam Young, they all came in, and Dean Mall's coming right now, but they all came in with Tyler as well. So if Tyler managed to use that much more fuel, or he knows he's good. Here comes Mall from the front of the pack, and he gets in clean.
Well, and you're looking at Mall, he ran 55 laps to a tank of fuel. Tyson Landis at 54. So maybe, these guys, as soon as they hit that window, maybe they knew they were fine.
And Adam Young,
I think, though, it's going to be
still out as well.
Where this could absolutely backfire on these drivers making a stop right now is drivers like Mark Cohn, Sage Karam, Matt Taylor, Jason Bossy, Ryan Otis. I mean, basically your entire top 10 all on the same strategies. We've got cars diving to pit road. That looks like Richie Hurd, Tyson Landis. So, but the drivers that I just mentioned, they're going to have to take a lot less fuel at the end of this stint. So you're going to see the two times kind of weigh out. Yeah, you're going to have lighter fuel than maybe some of the leaders, but how much are you sacrificing here?
Tyson Landis, Richie Hearn into their stalls. Mardi Gras comes out right behind Adam Young, and Tyler Graf is nowhere close to those cars. So he's back there with Mike Rasmus.
Oh, caution!
Oh, that really throws it out. And it's
Adam Young.
He just came out of the pits. He came out of the pits, went into turn 3, and spun on his own.
Welcome to the Oval at the Twin Ring Motegi. Let's get a common misconception.
Coming in. He was on something. Adam was coming this time, Brian. He was the last car to have not pit. I think he was going to be out of fuel and on light fuel. It caught him out.
Oh, did he turn in and lift on light fuel?
Yeah, exactly what happened. Yep. He turned in and lifted to come to the pit, and around it went. And Dean Mall,
Was that Mardi Gras?
Dean Mall.
Yo,
speaking of just coming out of the pits. Boy, watch this. Look at that. That's Adam who just went by.
And there goes Adam that just goes by again. Look at that on board. When you're good, you're good. And now that's going to kind of cement.
You're talking about Dean Mall, of all the people who got hurt there, running third when he came to pit road, and now he's going to have to take the wave around. That's if nobody stays out. Let's look. No, nobody's going to stay out. Hearn, Tice, and Landis are all going to get around. Hearn, Landis, Mall, Tyler Graff, they'll all get the wave. So will Ryan Korn. They're all going to have to go to the back. And now let's watch the battle off of pit road here, because this matters.
Mark Rowland.
Boy, did Mark Cohn just steal one away from Sage there.
I mean, let's take a look at their hit time. 6.5 seconds for Mark.
Full second shorter than Sage was Mark. So Sage took some extra fuel, I guess.
Speaking of taking extra fuel, Jason, why don't we take a pit stop of our own?
I think that's a great idea, Brian. We have 40 laps remaining, and when we come back, we'll take you to the finish. Here you're watching the SimXperience 175 on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Still under caution here in the SimXperience 175 at Twin Ring Motegi. This is the third caution of the evening here in the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. I'm Jason Galvin, alongside of the banker Brian Yatzik, DJ Clark down on pit road, Sean Ambrose handling the directing duties for us here, and a shout out to Bill Soupzon, who carefully crafted some of our pre-race spiel tonight. I had to cold read that, and that was an entertaining part of this race for me, to say the least, while the rest of them like, oh, hey, check that out. I was like, oh, please don't mess this up, because we all know Soup is the ultimate wordsmith. See where race cars that are getting the wave around right now. There's a few of them there. Mardi Gras Mall, Tyler Graff, Tyson Landis, Richie Hearn, and Ryan Corms all getting waved around onto the tail end of the lead lap. We'll turn the lead over to the Watchman, the reigning driver of the year in the Retro Series, Mark Cohn.
Also, shout out to the chat. Looks like classy Jason Bossy has got himself a fan base. Gary Bossy and Ryan Bossy in the chat cheering on their fellow named fan.
A lot of Bossies.
There's a lot of Bossies. Yeah.
Are they telling people what to do?
Not yet.
That's disappointing.
I mean, they've got a foreman's control over here. I mean, if anymore, they're going to be the mighty Bossy tones.
Hits just keep coming. Hey, Sean Ambrose in our ear. I got that. First musical joke he's gotten all night from you, Brian.
Well, hey, one's better than zero, baby.
And in fairness, that's also the first musical reference you've made that involved a group or musician of legitimate talent. So, anyways, Pace Car, that's actually not true, but Pace Car is pulling off. Mark Cohn brings us back to the green, and we have 36 laps remaining here at Twin Ring Motegi as they slam through the gears, everybody into fifth. By the time we get up off of turn 2, it's Cohn, Karam, Taylor, Bossy, Little Train sitting up there in P5 in a battle for the lead.
Picking up right where we left off at the end of the run, Sage Karam in the red and white machine. Mark Cohn in the gold and white machine up in the top lane. 39 versus 2 coming off of turn 4. 35 to go. You watch it. Sage trying to get down low to make a block, break the draft. But Mark Cohn right in the exhaust tracks of that number 2 machine, heading off of turn 2 this time. Still side by side. Oh, put it out! Problems in turn 4 again!
It might have been Paul Jenkins. He slipped back. It is Paul Jenkins. He went around all on his own. So just like Adam Young, Paul Jenkins, a little bit too much lift in 3 and 4, and around he went. And boy, George Anzaldo.
Oh, George.
Put a diaper on, George.
4 tires and a change of underwear for the driver of the number 6 machine.
Jenkins managed to not hit anything. Here you're on board with Anzaldo, and watch this. Oh, boy.
Bringing you the wreck avoidance cameras.
George has watched Driven one too many times and has not watched enough of Days of Thunder. Because he did not try to drive through that. He tried to miss it, and it almost got him caught up.
I mean, we're not putting quarters turn 1 and 2 for him to go pick up there in the right rear.
I mean, hey, if you did, don't tempt George.
Yeah. Getting clarification there.
Drive that van around. He tries to pick up quarters with that thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a cargo van like that with the wheelie bars, but wow. I was getting some clarification in the chat. Gary Bossy is Jason's father, and Ryan is the brother. So we got the 3 generations of Bossy hanging out with us tonight.
It's not 3 generations, Brian.
It's close enough. 3 Bossies of the mighty Bossy tones. Fine.
It's 3 Bossies. It's not 3 generations.
Well, okay.
Let me help you with how this generational thing works. See, in order to have a 3rd generation, there would need to be a kid in there somewhere. Or a grandpa. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I picked the wrong word and I ran with it.
These are things you're gonna learn, okay?
Yeah.
See, so there's a generation of Yaziks coming.
Yes.
Which several of our viewers have already hastily emailed your wife to ask if it's not too late for her to change her last name. But I see that you got that one.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a music reference.
Yep.
I could drop some Carrie Underwood into that one, right?
Yeah. Getting a little birdie in our ears. that Cone is coasting
Did he-
under caution.
did- was that the extra second on pit road? Did Mark maybe look at his wheel and go, oops? I think he'll be
It's-
okay, given the amount.
Shut off.
I think this one turns back on.
Yeah.
Did that mistake once in a fixed official IndyCar race.
You can
Let me
do
tell
it.
Yeah,
It's
but you got to
it's
catch it right away.
nerve-wracking. Yeah, you got to get down to
You
like
gotta catch
second
it right
gear,
away.
and you undo everything you accomplished.
Yeah, the problem with it is that I had shut it off and had the clutch in, so then it zeroed out the RPMs. And once you do that in the IndyCar, the only thing that saves you is Alt F4.
You're gonna have a bad day.
It happened. I'm not proud.
32 laps to go in the music references 175. Thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us. All of the mighty bossy tones out there. All of you other viewers at home. Thank you for spending your Thursday night with us here. Global SimRacing Channel on iRacing Esports Live. Hopefully finding some amusement from a Emmy-nominated reporter and a guy who they don't let use knives. Lights still on the pace car. Let's bring DJ in here. I mean, you know, the fuel strategy has all been reset right now. So when it comes, now it's just going to come down to who can hold the wheel the best. I got to ask you again, DJ, who you looking at here for this final 30, probably 29 laps once we get the green?
Well, I'm still going to stick with Mark Cohn, who you're right, he has been absolutely on fire this entire race. The other one that I'm going to look at is Ryan Otis, currently hanging out back in 7th. He is obviously one of the best drivers in this series, and I got to think that he's going to make some magic work around these last couple of laps.
I mean, it's a safe bet going with this defending series champion.
I mean, I wasn't going to call DJ out on that one, but you can.
We'll let him take the easy one. That's fine.
And it's only my second race in the pits. I got to take one easy call here and there.
Point. That's a good point. Yeah.
"21 drivers still pacing around the oval here in Motegi, which in real life does not exist in a functional form. Unfortunately, I believe it was a casualty of the earthquakes that rocked that region a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, those earthquakes, I think, have been 7 or 8 years now. Talking about the same earthquake that damaged the Fukushima nuclear power plant, and that was, I want to say, 2011?
I think the road course, I think, is still functional, but the oval...
Boy, how good was that? March 11th, 2011.
Oh.
That was a total guess. Total guess. All right, pace car lights are out. We're going to have 29 circuits to go when we return to green flag action here. Sage Karam, Mark Cohn, Matt Taylor in his first oval start in the series, Jason Bossy, and Little Train. That's your top 5. Then it's Aaron Morgan, Ryan Otis, George Andaldo, Dustin Wardlow, Finian DeCunha. That's the top 10. As the pace car hangs a sharp left, and the laundry flies from the flag stand. Green flag is back out here at Twin Ring Motegi.
Of all of the mighty boss tones in the chat, Jason Bossy up to the 4th spot with that little bit of wing damage from earlier on. A little bit of wreck avoidance. Matt Taylor, the newcomer, he's just hanging out there in the top 3. But I mean, it's going to be hard pressed to wrench this win away from Mark Cohn or Sage Karam.
And that's right. I forgot Jason Bossy has rear wing damage. Wonder how good of a shot we can get with that to show the fans just what Jason Bossy's doing right now. Look at that. That is mighty impressive.
That's why they're the mighty Bossy tones.
That's the impression I get. Bossy all over Taylor looking for P3. Do you think Jason Bossy's ever had to knock on wood?
But I know someone who has. He has.
He might want to with this move. Look at this.
Wide.
Oh, boy. Oh, man, that could have been disastrous. You talk about the save of the year by Sage Karam and Mark Cohn. It's almost like they both anticipated that and got up out of the way. Wow.
Coming from just a little bit away, 2 by 2, front 2 rows. Don't look away from that the back end of this pack right here. Aaron Morgan, Mr. Consistent, just kind of appearing at the right time. Lionel Kalisto, Ryan Otis. It makes up the top 7.
And
they're going to go.
Wardlow in 8th. And that gap is big enough. Wardlow's going to have to try to get single file there with Inzaldo and Finian if he's going to try to run them down.
Matt was trying to close the door, but Mark had his foot well in it. Matt forced to go up top against Sage.
Whoa,
now they're going to try to 3 wide.
It was close. Cohn and Sage, if they didn't just touch, man, they could have swapped vinyl wraps.
Ballet dancing with a.
Cohn gets down in front of Otis. Bossy trying to get down there and side draft. Matt Taylor to the outside of Sage Karam in his 2nd start in the Retro Series. In his 1st start on an oval, he finished in the top 5 last week in his series debut at Sonoma. 4th place finish for Taylor, and he's trying to get up on the podium here in start number 2. Between Taylor and Rasmus, we've really added some quality talent to this league over the last month.
Add in the good ingredients to the already good stew. And look at the product that we're getting out here. 23 laps to go, 3 wide, maybe looking to go 4 wide, heading into turn 3, boys. Oh, Matt Taylor up there in the high red district again.
He's made it work a few times, though.
I make it work again.
Aaron Morgan just made a beautiful move, too, to get under Bossy and Finian. Pardon me, that's Lionel Little Train right behind Morgan there. Little Train snuck up in the end of Pocono and stole one. Aaron Morgan still looking for his first series win despite the consistency. And Sage Karam and Mark Cohn are swapping donuts down the back straightaway with 21 laps to go this time. Taylor to the inside of Cohn.
I was just going to say that move opened up Cohn to attack from Taylor heading into turn 1, working their way through the wide sweeping corner. Mark trying to make it.
Mark Cohn pinch those 2 down too. Yeah, with 20 laps to go after the net code we saw with David Clymer earlier, I don't know if I would be testing.
Oh, boys. They're pushing that net code button about as close as you can get to it. Look at this onboard from Sage looking back, weaving down the front stretch.
And yet the group behind them has made up no ground because the Dustin Wardlow, Ricky Harden, George Inzaldo combo, they just can't get single file. Every time I look back there, they're racing 2 and 3 wide. And if they get single file and maybe let the first 2 leapfrog, I think that they would get there, but they're not doing it. And as a result, this group is actually pulling away while racing this close.
Yeah, if that second pack could get lined up, these guys are clearly going to want to be sending this thing 2, 3, and maybe even 4
Caution.
wide. We have a caution.
And it happened, I think, at the back of that second pack. Let's take a look. Tom Dryling's around. Dryling and Ryan Corns get together, and boy, I don't know what happened with Dryling. He just slowed to a crawl in the middle of 3 and 4. Oh, if you watch Dryling again, I wonder if we can get an onboard with Dryling. It's like the car bobbles pretty hard, and he chases it up the track in front of Corns.
Definitely didn't want to get that the way that he was intending it to. Oh, sorry. That's why, boys and girls, you have to keep your mic close to your mouth in this industry.
How that works. Ryan Yazik here for the at-home broadcasting instruction classes.
Rule 1.
Have you ever wanted to be a GSRC broadcaster? Call Brian Yazik.
We could move in together because I live in a van down by the river. So
there's no musical reference to that one, so we're gonna let
Nope.
it.
yeah, we're not doing pop culture tonight. We're doing music.
All right, let's reset things here. We should be down to 15 or even 14 to go when we hit the restart. And it's Sage Karam leading Mark Cohn. Matt Taylor sits in third, even though he's not led a lap all night. Ryan Otis is fourth, Aaron Morgan fifth. Little Train, Lionel Kalisto is sixth. Jason Bossy sits in seventh. Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman, gets a reprieve now thanks to this caution. Brings Finian DeCunha and Ricky Harden in the top 10 up to this pack. And then it's George Anzaldo, Mike Rasmus in 12th. A decent showing for Rasmus in his first non-Indianapolis oval start, but I almost wonder if Rasmus doesn't kind of put on the Jets here at the end of this one. And then you get to the cars who got caught out. Remember, we had the caution now. It's been 3 cautions ago that hung a bunch of cars a lap down who pitted under green. Richie Hearns in 13th, Tyler Graff in 14th, Dean Mullen 15th. All 3 of those cars have run up front. I think all 3 of them have led laps tonight. They've certainly all been close. Paul Jenkins is in 16th despite that self-spin. Ryan Corns is in 17th despite his incident that just happened. Travis Jagerleiner sits 18th. Tyson Landis and Sam Crow, that is the top 20 as they run right now. Tom Dryling, for the record, is still on pit road, it looks like. So maybe he's got some extra damage there.
Yeah, 'cause that car, I mean, when it got rear-ended, I'm sure that messed things up, but it almost seemed like there was more issues with it heading off into that corner.
Definitely, it was a very visible bobble when he got down into 3 and 4. That put him in that position to even get hit by Ryan Corns.
Beautiful camera angles here, looking down the back stretch. Getting down to the nitty-gritty of it. 17 laps to go right now. Probably, yeah, you're probably right, Jason. Probably 14 to go once we drop the green flag back on the race here tonight. It's going to take him a lap or 2 to get caught back up and wound up. Now, if you were that second pack of Wardlow, Finian, Hart, George, Mike Rasmus, Richie Hurd, you're going to take this opportunity right now to get right up close to that front pack as you can. I mean, you know that a good finish can be made or lost on a restart here at Motegi.
Pace car lights stay on, so we'll get at least one more lap, which tells me we'll go green with 14 laps remaining in this one. Notice the cautions seem rather extended tonight, Yaz.
Yeah.
I normally say our window is 5 to go to get a restart. I think you might have to push that out to 6 to go.
At least.
Might even put some extra onus on the drivers here in this one. I'm not really sure how things are going to shake out in this series with Sage Karam when it comes to his real-life schedule. You know, we're off this week, this next week, and then we return August 20th at New Hampshire, and the week after that at Iowa, and that's going to coincide with Sage's time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy 500. So if Sage is going to miss New Hampshire, then it might all be a moot point when it comes to the championship, but every win matters, and remember, the season finale is double points. So you've got to think Sage's mode right now is just win every race I enter and let the rest of it kind of work out how it works out. He's going to need Ryan Otis to have a bad night here or there. Whether he misses New Hampshire or not, he's going to need Ryan Otis to have a bad night, being 73 points back now. He's going to miss New Hampshire, then he needs Ryan to have a couple of bad nights, but can't really control that if you're Sage, and you know that. Race car drivers are trained to know that you can only control what you can control. Meanwhile, this man you're riding on board with couldn't care what Sage Karam has in mind for the championship or even next week or the Indy 500. All he cares about is Mark Cohn wants to win this race right here. Mark Cohn's only thought process right now, Brian, is I showed up. It's my second start of the year, and I have a chance to beat a guy who in 2 weeks will be competing for the Borg Warner Trophy. And if that's what I'm going to do, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeet away.
Matt Taylor's got to have a similar thought process behind him.
Well, he's been playing that high lane in turn 3. Maybe he's found something up there. I mean, we saw him go up there early, fade back, but then all of a sudden in the last 30 laps, we've watched that number 79 machine come towards the front of the field. I mean, we're coming to 14 to go here. This is going to be exciting. You could draw, pick a winner out of a hat where it's at right now.
Pace car peels off. Sage Karam has control of the field. We have 14 laps remaining. And the SimXperience 175 green flag back in the air here at Twin Ring Motegi.
Much more spread out restart from the front to the back. Already seeing large gaps kind of appear. That backpack, that led by Wardlow, and you've got Finian back there, you've got Ricky Hart. They're going to try and hang on to the back, but Ricky Hart and Finian fighting side by side going into turn 3. All of the attention put it out!
Wreck, Sage is in it! Up front, they wreck for the lead! Sage, Karam, and Mark get together, and it was Sage who bobbled on the inside in turns 3 and 4 and slid up the zone.
Oh, no.
Mark Cohn's car destroyed into the wall. Sage is going to get away with that, I think. And man, you talk about the rarest of mistakes from Sage Karam. It is not often that you see Sage Karam make a mistake. You're on board with Mark Cohn, who's got no idea what hits him until he's in the wall. Boy, and Brian, you got to think back to last year here at Motegi. And Sage, he kind of made up for it this year in the IndyCar race with the win. But remember last year at this track, he wrecked out of both the IndyCar and the Retro races before the first pit stop, hitting the wall on the exit of turn 4. Twice he made a mistake here. That's 3 times in 4 races that Sage Karam, an otherwise nearly flawless driver in the Lionheart Series, has made mistakes here at this track. It's turning into his kryptonite almost.
Yeah, I mean, that car got in there and just had that evil wobble. I mean, and Sage and his luck here at Motegi, a strong car throughout the whole race. If it's not affected, and I fear he's probably going to get a drive-through for that incident.
I don't know, because he lost it on his own at first. I guess we'll have to see, because I guess he wasn't around when he got into Mark. So we'll have to see how race control. That's kind of like that's an interesting thought, Ryan, because normally it's like self-spins. If you collect somebody else, don't get you a penalty, but he hadn't spun when he got into Mark, so that might be, you're right, might be a drive-through coming. I was going to say it's interesting because I hadn't thought about the drive-through. The car actually looks okay, and he somehow managed to get it going again in 13th. Like, he didn't even fall to the back of the pack. He's within striking distance. He's right behind Tyler Graff.
Well, after that car made the initial contact with Mark and it did that little spin, it did one full loop and then it just kind of drifted one way to the other. So the car actually only did the first spin and they just kind of grabbed a gear like Danny Sullivan and went on. Looking back there in front of Sage, you got Tyler Graff, Richie Hearn, Mike Rasmus, the Magician, just creeping his way up there. George Finian. Well, now up front, this changes everything because Matt Taylor, the newcomer, finds himself in control of this race, coming to 10 to go. We're going to get though probably two to green right here.
Yet to hear anything from race crew. Sage Karam did just come over the chat in sim and apologize to Mark. He said, "Sorry, Mark, I just lost it." And it's exactly what we saw. Unlike Sage Karam to make those type of mistakes. Well, you feel for Mark Cohn, who put so much time into running this race, the defending series driver of the year, the sponsor of the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel, and he got all the way to the end and had done what he said he wanted to do, which was avoid the chaos and make it to the end and race for the win. And he was wheel to wheel with Sage Karam, and Sage of all people who make the mistakes.
Just unfortunate. Well, from the agony of defeat to the potential thrill of victory, we mentioned it. Matt Taylor, Ryan Otis, Aaron Morgan now shuffled up to the front of the field. Lionel Little Train Kalisto, Classy, Jason Bossy, rounding out the top five. And now that's going to bring Candyman and Ricky Harden back into this. And you saw earlier, Ricky, he got up there to the top three and then just kind of fizzled through the middle part of the run, but keeping the car clean. Oh, the lights are still on the pace car.
Yeah, saying this might be our last real shot here to get to the end. Hey, what do you say we bring in Mark Cohn and talk to him after that incident? Mark has stepped out of the race car and joins us now. And Mark, the Watchman, bud, man, that was an amazing run by you. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that you and Sage are the two classes of the field here tonight, and we're looking at that beautiful gold and white car right now on screen. You were that close. What did you see from your cockpit?
I wasn't sure if I had crammed Sage too much or if he lost it, but he immediately got on and said he lost it and apologized. It was great racing with him. It just sucks that 2 years in a row my race ends early, and it just happens to be the same guy involved both times. But it was fun while
I forgot that you were the car behind Sage when we were just talking about how Sage has kind of had a rough run of it here, and last year he bounced it off the wall, and you were the car right behind him that got caught up in that. Mark, we got 9 laps to go. It looks like we go back green here. As somebody who pretty much dominated this race with Sage, what do you think the key is to winning this one? Do you want to be on the outside coming to the checkers?
In my case, obviously not, but I feel like the outside with these old tires, it's key, because if you can keep the guy on the inside pinned enough to the point where they can't get a run or get loose without spinning it, they might be able to get it here. It's just the car gets loose enough that the outside will be king, in my opinion.
Mark, great job tonight. Thanks for joining us. I know you're disappointed, but nothing to hang your head about for sure. You raced side by side with world-class driver, and looked like you had a chance at it. Sometimes things just happen.
Guys, really appreciate all you guys do on GSRC.
That's Mark Cohn. We call him the Watchman. The DMLC Racing Channel, of course, is the presenting sponsor of the series. Mark, the defending driver of the year. Follow the DMLC Racing Channel on YouTube and Facebook. You want to follow along with Mark, and I'm sure watching his reaction to this race is going to be heartbreaking, but we look forward to seeing him post that as well. Here we go. Pace car peeling off. We've got 8 laps to go. 8 laps to determine who's going to win the SimXperience 175. Matt Taylor in his second start in Lionheart leads us to the green. And when it comes to the retro car, the man behind him is as good as anybody who's ever done it. It's the defending series champion and current point leader, Ryan Otis. And then there's Aaron Morgan lurking around, trying to finally put his car into victory lane. Aaron Morgan has 9 top 5s, Yaz, and he's only led 1 lap in his career. You talk about coming on strong late, needs to find a way to pick up 2 more spots, and it's Otis to the lead. And right now, for my money, you want to be out front as much as you can because a caution might end it.
Well, and you're seeing with these long cautions, Jason, that strategy at the end of the race, that's probably going to be where you want. You maybe, if it wasn't such long breaks in the action, you'd find yourself wanting to try to maybe survive to the end. But now, here we go. We're going to try to go 4 wide, go to turn 3.
And they're going to make it work so far. Hang on to it. Ryan Otis saves it. Taylor to the lead. Little Train up top. P2 for Kalisto. Otis falling like a rock right now. What a great save by the champion. But he's going to fall all the way back to the 6th spot. Bossy and Harden are there now as well. Little Train to the outside of Taylor. Here comes Aaron Morgan. 5.5 laps to go. The next flag is going to end it here at Motegi.
Try and stack him up again. 4 wide going into turn 3. Oh, that time Harden and Morgan almost come together. But here comes Little Train like a macho man elbow from the top rope.
Little Train with a run. He's looking low on Taylor. He shoots high. Bossy tucks in behind him. Morgan on the outside. And it's Otis. Harden, wreck! Big wreck! Is that Wardlow? The Candyman is in the wall. Dustin Wardlow has wrecked out. The caution flies, and Matt Taylor is going to win in his second start in the Lionheart Retro Series. Let's see what happened because Dustin Wardlow's car is destroyed. They were 3 wide with Georgian Zaldo and Finian DeCunha. And it looks like there's definitely some net code involved there, Brian. But Dustin was also kind of down the track, and Finian was also kind of coming up. That just kind of looks like one of those situations where 2 cars were heading towards the same point, and the net code took over.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part about sim racing right there. Nothing you can do, nowhere to go. But I'll bet you, Matt Taylor, who we're riding on board with right now, probably doesn't mind this.
And we'll wait for the official confirmation here from the sim as we go down to 3 to go. So in theory, the next 2 laps could give us 1. Yeah, that would be the shortest caution we've had all night. And I'm not saying that I'm against us racing it out to the green at the end, but it certainly feels like this is going to be the end of it.
I mean, there's no cars rolling. Or sorry, there's no damaged cars off the lead lap rolling. That usually does speed this up.
Just heard Matt Taylor jump on and say that he's going to hold his breath.
Oh boy!
I'm around to see whether we're coming back to it or not.
I would have to tell you 2 to green right now. It'll be real interesting to watch the pace car. Listening to some of the in-race chatter. Nobody's yelling at each other yet, so that's always a positive note.
This will be the determining moment for Matt Taylor. And that's going to do it. They'll have to come around one more time, but Matt Taylor, in his second start in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel, is going to take the win here at Twin Ring Motegi over Little Train and Jason Bossy, with Aaron Morgan and Ryan Otis with the save of a lifetime, finishing out the top 5. We'll wait for the race to come official and give you a full rundown after that. But how about Matt Taylor? Joins the league 3 weeks ago, shows up at Sonoma, and is able to battle his way back through the field after a rough start of it to finish in the 4th position. And here he is in his first oval start in this race car. And I understand that he had a little bit rough go of it during the practice races, and still able to come out here when it counts, and will take the win at Motegi over the injured cars of Lionel Callisto and Jason Bossy. How about that? There's a fact we've overlooked at how resilient this setup has been. Little Train with the bent front wing, Jason Bossy with the crinkle in the rear wing, and they're both going to end up on the podium with interviews. But tonight belongs to the rookie. In his second start, Matt Taylor will bring it across the line, and Matt Taylor will win the SimXperience 175 here at Twin Ring Motegi. Did I jump the gun, Sean?
You did.
Brian, you made me jump the gun?
I didn't make you jump the gun.
You made me jump the gun?
I just figured that you were just practicing. You were you were rehearsing.
Well, let me ask you, how did that sound? Was that good?
That sounded great. Yeah, it sounded great.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to need Sean to go and cut and paste that here.
Yeah.
Next time they come around.
I mean,
that way the second time. Yeah.
Matt's going to feel special. He's going to think every time he wins, we
Matt
have to call it twice.
Matt gets 2. Yeah, does he get credit for 2 wins now?
I mean, we did call it that way.
I got all excited, man. I'm looking forward to talking to Matt. Can we just call it now? And
well, I mean, about a half a lap we can.
how many people right now are telling Matt Taylor is Little Train just PMing Matt right now? Like, dude, so check this out. iRacing's got this wicked new victory celebration if you hit Alt F4 right before the finish line.
Yeah.
Cool, you gotta try it. Like right when you get to the pit wall, just hit Alt F4 and see what happens.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, let's try this again. In his second start in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel, Matt Taylor brings it off a turn 4, and Matt Taylor is going to win the SimXperience 175 at Twin Ring Motegi. Little Train, Lionel Callisto comes home second. Classy Jason Bossy third. Aaron Morgan in fourth. And the champ, Ryan Otis, rounds out your top 5. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Matt Taylor and the rest of the podium here. You're watching the SimXperience 175 in the Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Well, it's a night Matt Taylor will not soon forget here in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. The winner of the SimXperience 175. As we welcome you into the HyperX post-race show, I'm Jason Galvin alongside of Brian Yadzik and DJ Clark. The Lionheart Racing Series powered by HyperX. You're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium. It pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset. Gives you the audio information you need to grab the checker flag. From the high-performance DRAM and SSDs to outstanding microphones, accurate mice, responsive keyboards, of course the legendary cloud line of gaming headsets, HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed. Casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers. HyperX is always ready to game. Don't forget the promo code LionHRT15. HyperXGaming.com. If you don't have a pair of HyperX headphones for the next segment, fear not, because we're going to put the Turn Racing finishing order up on the screen for you to see. Turn Racing's merging the gap between real and sim racing. Use that promo code Lionheart10 at turnracing.com. Matt Taylor, career start number 2, career win number 1. I hear 50% on your winning percentage is really, really good. Lionel Callisto comes home in second. Jason Bossi with a great run in third despite that rear wing damage. Aaron Morgan was there at the end. Comes up just short again in fourth. And Ryan Otis, the champ, despite that big bobble at the end, able to hang on and finish fifth. Ricky Harden, who knocked the wall over at one point, somehow still finished in sixth. George Anzaldo with a great run in seventh. Finian DeCunha comes home eighth. Look at that Tyler Graff at ninth. And Mike Rasmus rounds out your top 10.
In the 11th spot, Richie Hearn, the Sage Karam, after that late race contact with Mark Cohn, rebounding to the 12th spot. 13th, the Dean Mardi Gras Mall. Paul Jenkins, 14th, with Ryan Corns in 15th. 16th, going to Travis Jaeger-Leiter with Tyson Landis in the 17th spot. 18th, going to Sam Crow. Very silent night for him tonight. Dustin Warlow, after the late race contact, relegated to a 19th place finish with Mark Cohn joining him in 20th.
Tom Driley and Adam Young. These are all cars out of the race. Chris Fowler, Mike Eleanor Rigney, Bruno Miranda, Scott Holmes, Chris Reagan, and David Clymer with that early netcode crash on lap 13 while battling for the lead rounds out the 28-car field. Let's head down now to the SimXperience victory lane and talk to some of our drivers. Matt Taylor, the driver, gets to celebrate in the SimXperience victory lane to help you get the check. To help you get there, check out SimXperience AccuForce steering system. Has the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. See the entire line at SimXperience.com. Matt, congratulations. Race number 2 in your Lionheart Retro Series career. The first oval, and you're able to hang on out in front. Walk me through those last few laps after the Karam and Cone wreck. You restarted the leader. How important was it for you to keep your nose out front?
Yeah, once those guys wrecked in front of me, it was really going to be focusing on trying to keep my nose out front in case that caution did fly again. And of course here it's a big pack race and them guys get a huge run on you. There isn't a whole lot you can do. And I tried to give some space and we ended up 4 wide going into 4. And I basically just sent it and held my breath, and it seemed like everybody gave each other some room, and I was able to sail it off in there and hang on, and then that last caution fell.
Matt, your second race in the series here. We don't know a lot about you, but you had a great run at Sonoma. Now you jump into the oval. The oval is usually a tricky thing in these cars for people because it's not like there's anywhere else on the surface, really, that you can go and run at all these different ovals in the L79. What was the key to you being so quick and successful tonight?
So I think it's what transferred from what I've learned running solely road courses. I really don't have much oval experience at all. The place I really cut my teeth in and learned sim racing, we ran road courses almost exclusively. But something I've developed over time is I tend, and you guys actually mentioned it at Sonoma last week, or I overdrive the entry to the corners a little bit. And I found what that helps with is on road courses with large sweepers, and then that transfers into these ovals, is if I carry a lot of speed into the corner and I'm able to maintain that through center, it really benefits you. And I actually struggled a lot and it hurt me tonight a little bit. I was kind of forced to run the outside lane because I would drive the car in so much deeper. I really did stand to run over the guy in front of me, so I had to alter my line a little bit and really be patient.
And you thought that was all part of the plan because, man, you were rolling that outside line better than anybody, especially in 3 and 4. That's a really hard corner if you get too far up the track. And, man, there were a couple of times that you were out there in no man's land. I mean, you were like halfway to the Aleutian Islands in 3 and 4, and yet you somehow made it work. Really impressive job.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate getting a seat here. This league is awesome. It's run so well. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not the last time we'll be talking to you, but the first time has to be sweet. Congratulations.
All right, I'll grab Lionel. Lionel, late race caution didn't work out for you, but I tell you what, watching Cone and Sage get into each other, what was going through your mind back there?
I was surprised, honestly. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, like good for me. But I mean, unfortunate for them. I don't like seeing that. Yeah, I'm happy with the second place finish for a riding shotgun. A little bit of damage with the car, but still manages to finish top 5. Really happy with it.
It seemed like you were really carrying the top lane well. I mean, you mentioned the damage on the car? Were you having to kind of resort to that top to try to keep the momentum going to kind of overcome some shortfalls with the car?
I think the car was fine, just a little crooked steering wheel, just a little bit of suspension damage, but I thought the higher line might help me with getting down the front stretch, but it kind of kills me in the turn 1 where I need that low line. And also I was trying to avoid all the chaos that was going on the lower lane.
That definitely was part of that. I mean, you had the great run at Pocono. You have a really solid run here. But what is it about these oddball tracks that kind of just suit you?
It's just the ovals. I think I have a better chance and can get finishes in the ovals than I do road courses. A lot of fast guys in road. My road courses, like for me, it's like if I get a top 10, it's a good race for me.
Sounds good. I mean, we're heading off to New Hampshire next. What you feeling there, buddy?
Another oval, so it's a good chance. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
Sounds good. We'll let you celebrate your podium. Unfortunately, that final caution didn't work out for you, but still a solid effort tonight, Lionel. Congratulations on second place. We'll catch you on down the road.
Yes.
All righty. Now, DJ, you're going to catch up here. Let's see here. We're going to catch up with classy Jason Bossy, the head of the Mighty Mighty Bossy Tones. DJ, take it away.
Jason, you had a massive cheering section in our YouTube comments today. You started third, you ended third, but that doesn't exactly tell the whole story. How was it out there?
Oh man, it was crazy. It's great to finally get on the podium. I mean, I just been knocking on the door all season and just been carrying a ton of self-sabotage around. I mean, just all the half spins on the road courses and then spinning on the ovals and taking out my team principal, Ryan Corns, half the time. So it's good to finally get a finish and not be involved in any of that. But that early spin, I think it was Scott Holmes was coming down and I tried to get on the brakes, but we just kind of touched there. And if it was him, but I ended up spinning. I was like, oh no, not again. And that put me back at like 22nd, 23rd. And just had to charge through the field and try to get back up as quickly as possible to stay on the strategy.
Yeah, and it was a heck of a charge through the field. As we were watching it, it looked like you had some rear wing damage. Could you notice any changes in the car?
A little bit in 3 coming off of 4. I had to change my line. I was trying all kinds of different stuff and different pivot points through that 3-4 transition as far as getting the car road hit and getting to get back on the gas there. But I still had like a slight, subtle little push where if I didn't get just right, I was lifting off of 4 and I was like, oh no, guys are going to be running over me down the straightaway. So I just tried to charge down to the inside wall as quickly as possible.
Well, it looked like you handled it pretty well. I mean, coming in on that last restart, you saw guys fanning out 4 wide in front of you. What was running through your mind seeing those guys do that?
Yeah, as I don't know, it's pretty much a show. I was like, all right, so we're going 4 wide into 3, and I was like, okay, do I have room to go swing way outside and then I can get a good run off of 4 on all of them? And I did there towards the end. I had a beautiful run, and then the caution came out. And I think that pretty much sealed the deal in third place there. But yeah, it's just a matter of watching them, and they were interlocking wheels a lot. There was a few times there, I don't know if you guys caught it on the broadcast, but I mean, they were so close. And I was just positioning myself to make sure I wasn't going to get caught up in it.
Yeah, they were definitely playing fast and loose with a little bit of net code there. New Hampshire in a couple of weeks. How you feeling about that?
I don't know. I've never been there. I don't have the track. I'm gonna have to buy it here, and I love it. I love watching the real life races. So I'm looking forward to another somewhat tight oval, I believe. So we'll see how it goes in the Lotus here.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there, Jason. Congratulations again.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
All right, DJ, thank you so much. Thank you, Jason Bossy, and thank you, all the viewers out there, for hanging out with us. We want to thank a bunch of people that helped make this series and broadcast happen. Of course, Lionheart Retro Series title sponsors the DMLC Racing Channel. We talked to Mark Cohn. Follow along with the 2019 Retro Series Driver of the Year. The DMLC Racing Channel is on YouTube and Facebook. HyperX, whatever you play, however you play it, HyperX knows for all gamers. Promo code's LionHRT15. Check them out at HyperXGaming.com. Second only to the real thing, SimXperience at Aki Force Wheel. Check out SimXperience.com. And, of course, our good friends at Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Promo code there is Lion2020 at thebuttkicker.com. Want to contact any of our sponsors you see on the screen right now, go ahead and go over to the Lionheart Racing Series website, LionheartRacingSeries.com. Original music you hear on all these GSRC broadcasts comes courtesy of June Milan. Check out the contact info on the screen here, as well as some of the other great companies that make these broadcasts happen. You've heard everybody talk about it here in Post Race. Our next event, 2 weeks from tonight, August 20th. It's round 11 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, right here live on the IESN and GSRC. And if you want more information about the Global Sim Racing Channel, head to globalsimracingchannel.com or Facebook or Twitter or the Instagram as well. Finally, on behalf of the crew here tonight, Brian Yatzik, DJ Clark, Sean Ambrose, Dougie Beard, I'm Jason Galvin. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching as Matt Taylor picks up career win #1 here in the Lionheart Retro Series, SimXperience 175 Twin Ring Motegi. Until next time, remember, the only one who remembers when you come home in second is your wife and your dog. Good night, everybody.